Hello, good morning, Visibility Vibers. It's Wednesday, and I wanted to test out something really. I wanted to share some Wednesday wisdom. So, as those of you that have been in the group for a long time will know, every Wednesday used to be Q&A Wednesday, where you could show up live and ask me a question. And I realised that while there's like over 700 of you in the group, it's only in the last 6 months or so that I have been asking questions of people joining the group. They don't take long, but one of the questions is, where do people struggle? Now, this has been a recurring theme for me, for people that I've spoken to just recently. So I wanted to share my wisdom on it. I wanted to share a few thoughts on visibility and like how comparisonitis, or comparing yourself with other people when you're being visible, can actually stop you in your tracks. So a few days ago I was speaking to somebody who's a peer of mine. We both get out there in the world, we're both quite visible, and one of the things they said was, well, you get up early, you get up at 5 a.m. and I get up really late, so I kind of compare myself and think, oh well, Jenny gets up at 5. So it was interesting that they said that, but it caused me to reflect on some times where I have compared myself to somebody else, and in terms of being more visible, in terms of being seen, raising my profile, being heard by the people I want to be heard by, and really being noticed, it just doesn't help. So let me start with the 5 a.m. thing. So I was following the work of somebody in particular who always gets up at 5 a.m. They're not the only person that wakes up at 5. There are other people. So there's a book called The Miracle Morning. And while it's not an advocate of the specific time that you wake up in the morning, it does talk about, starting your day early. So here's the first thing I want to say. In order to nail this visibility thing, in order to have people understand more about you and what you do, it's really, really important to know who you are. So if you are a 11 a.m. girl or guy and you want to get up at 11 a.m, that's absolutely fine. It's your thing. It's who you are. It's what you want to do. So claim it and own it, and just be more of you. Bring that into you. The other thing that I found myself doing was, I've been speaking to a couple of people recently about a really great opportunity. I'm going to keep the details of that sacred because it is confidential, but a very rare and very sacred opportunity came up. And it was interesting to me to think about who would be a great fit for that opportunity. And it was a little bit kind of tinged with sadness to think that out of all the people that I know, that there's only a very, very small percentage of people that would be motivated for the opportunity, ready for the opportunity, and actually able to do the opportunity. So it got me thinking again about visibility, how we show up and how we compare ourselves, because we are all at different stages. We're all at different places in our business. Some of us are well established. There are people in this group that are on multiple 7 figures. Yes, they're multi-millionaires. There are people in this group that are on multiple 6 figures. There are people in this group that have just reached the 100,000 mark, or maybe are just approaching that, or set to do so this year. There are people that are making a bit less than that. They're making 4 figures. There are people that are thinking about what their business could look like and getting started. And there are also those of you who have got jobs or consultancy roles or freelancing roles, and you're looking at bringing that business baby up alongside the roles until such time that you can hop from one to another and just have the one thing. But here's the thing, when you're being visible, none of that is like the heavenly Mecca. It's not the place. You don't all have to think that the place that you end is on the multiple 7, 8 or 9 figures or anything else like that. It all depends on you and using your vibrant visibility. So here's what I want to share, a couple of insights, a couple of thoughts on the comparisonitis of visibility and how it can stop you. So first thought is, really think about your own lifestyle. Think about what you love. Think about what you like. and look to be visible from where you are. Now, this is the weird kind of brain switch that you'd need to flip. Think about where you are right now and what you can do right now, but then also think about where you are headed to. Where you are headed to. So, for example, if where you are right now is having a look at how you can grow your business, get yourself out in front of other people and more people, and you know that where you want to get to is to be a business that works internationally, for example, what it means is you take stock of where you are now and what you can do with the resources and everything that you've got right now, but you also have a look at where you're headed towards. So if you're looking at, international status, for example, then you might want to do things with more international people rather than the people in your local area. Neither is right or wrong, but this is based on your vision and your goal. If you are working a job at the moment and looking at growing a business and have been doing that on the side, and your aim is to continue growing the business and having a job, that's fine. If your aim is to get out of that role, that paid role, and go more into your business sustaining you, then all the decisions that you make now, regardless of the fact that you might not have a team of people in the background, that you might not have a massive audience, you might not even have a big list, none of that actually matters when it comes to being visible. And what I want to say about this is it's the impact that you make, because 9 times out of 10, what you actually need to do first is to be visible before thinking about, now I need a massive list. I was asked yesterday by somebody how big my list was, and I told them, and people think that I've got a list of thousands and thousands of people, when actually, because I am active on social media and because I do a lot of stuff in the flesh, my audience actually comes from me doing things like this, me creating video on my business page, me putting posts out on LinkedIn. But actually the opportunities that come from that tend to be more offline than online. But then when I looked at my social media reach between, LinkedIn, between Twitter, Instagram, Facebook groups, Facebook pages, I've got over 9,000 reach, over 9,000 reach. So look at where you are now, where you want to go to, and the impact that you can make. Now, let me break this down, because that sounds like dodgy, fluffy, vague language. When you have a business and you're making an impact, and by the way, if you are watching and want to say hi, you can, but if you want to just watch, that's fine too. And if you're watching on the replay, hiya. When you are making an impact with people, you are impacting them. You're not going, whoa, I'm Jenny, I'm here, and look at me, and this is what I do. What you're doing is you're actually connecting with them. You're helping them to understand that you know where they are, you know how they are, you know how they're feeling, and that you can do more. Okay, this is really a really important point. People think they have to shoot out of the gate some kind of extroverted behaviour, bright clothing, perfectly made up, beautiful hair and backdrops and everything kind of figured out. And visibility doesn't work like that. For those of you that have worked with me, you'll know that visibility, actually, I teach visibility in a way that no one else does. It's almost like back to front and the wrong way round. It's about getting yourself out there so that your clients and potential people that are interested in what you do can find you much more easily. You do all of that first before the branding. You do all of that first before worrying about the website. You do all of that first before thinking, I need to grow my list to a gazillion people. You do all of that first before being bothered about carefully constructed products, programs and services. And the reason that you do that and start with that is because as you work with more of these ideal people, you hone your skill, you hone your craft. You hone that as you keep going, and you get to a point where you become even more sure or confident on the message that you want to put out there in the world, the purpose that you want to put out there in the world. And in order to do that, you need to know what your product or your brand or your story is. The story, not just for storytelling's sake, hello, welcome to my webinar. Now, 10 years ago, I was living under the bridge by a railway station homeless, and then this happened and I created this thing. It's not about that, but it's everything to do with how you tell the story, which compels the people that you're meant to work with and that you love working with to want to seek out more. And what it also does is lets people know that there is a reason and a story as to how you have grown, how you have got this product or service out there in the world. But if it's not for them, that it's okay. They can move on and find the person or the company or the brand that they need. The other thing that is really important to consider when you're doing this is your energy, like your energy levels. There's two ways to look at it: the vibe that you put out and the energy levels that you've got inside. I see so many businesses that on the road to success that they think is success, they burn out. They burn out because they're trying to fit too much stuff to do. And it was ironic that I was speaking to coaching clients on Monday, and the theme seemed to be trying to shove everything in and fit everything in. So with a number of them, they have now received a really great, easy to use way of constructing their day and working out how much time they've got. So it's really important to be able to do that from an energy point of view so you're not burning out. The second reason why it's really important to be able to do that, sorry, I keep playing around with my camera. I can see people watching, but I can't see any comments. So I hope that Facebook thing hasn't happened again. The other thing to think about with energy is your vibe. So many people admire the work of people like Marie Forleo, and Fabienne Fredrickson was one of the first mentors that I worked with. And what they try and do is they try and emulate like Gary Vee or Marie Forleo, and they forget and lose themselves in the process. Your people want you. They want your vibe. And one of the questions that I ask a lot of my clients, and they find the hardest to answer, is like, who are you? When you get a sense of who you are, what you love and what you do, it makes showing up on camera, it makes being yourself so much easier. That is what you need to bring into your visibility right from the start. If this is day one of your business and you've got no website, no following, no list, no nothing, doing even just the things that I've suggested before this will help people to start to notice you, to start to see you, and start to realise how you can start to help them. The fifth piece is around how you speak about what you do or how you sell your services. And it's really funny that people think that, well, I'm not a business that's pushy. I don't push my services, or I'm not salesy. I don't push my services out in front of people. And it's not about selling your services and pushing them or being salesy in front of people. It's about letting people know the value that, not even the value that you do, but the value they can add to themselves. I think I met kind of like a new best friend yesterday. I spoke to someone that's in the same mastermind as me. She is like she didn't even need to say anything about being heart-centered. She properly is heart-centered, and she's a real ninja with sales. And we were having this conversation about how you bring more of yourself into a conversation, how it isn't about force or coercion. It's about letting people know the value of what you do and where the next step will come from. A bit like speaking about your business. You need to be able to speak about your business in a way that it sells your services. One of the programs that I really dig deeply in this is presentations that sells. People think they're going to be taught sales techniques and how to get people to run to the back of the room and sign up for things, and it's not like that. Presentations that sell. So presentations might be you in a networking meeting. It might be you on a Facebook Live. It might be you on a video. It might be you speaking to a small group of people, maybe a handful of people. Or it might be you like at an exhibition stand. It might even be you at standing on a big, massive stage. But just because everyone else seems to do it in one way doesn't mean that you need to follow suit. Hey, Celeste, good to see you on here. So those are just some of the ways in which we can be more visible to ourselves without comparing. Do not compare how you speak to someone else, not even me. Do not compare how you sell your products and services to me, because the way I sell my products and services might be completely different for what you need, depending on whether you're a service-based business, a product-based business, a mixture of both, depending on whether you're a transformational person, depending on whether you do it in a spiritual way. Your blueprint is unique, and there will be ways in which to form and craft this for you. So I call comparison comparisonitis, because it's like a disease that needs to be cut off or, wrapped up or bandaged up, because it gets in the way of your life. So those are some of the insights that I've had on this Wednesday Wisdom. I'd love to hear what yours are. Please comment in the box below. Please let me know whether you think that you've nailed comparisonitis, and if so, what did you do to nail that? If you think you're still in it, or sometimes you conquer it and sometimes you don't, put your comments in the box below. Let me know how you've overcome it, or how it smacks you in the face every now and then. And if it stops you, how has it stopped you? I'd love to open up this conversation, because I see too many people doing it. Full transparency. A particular situation or scenario that came up recently kind of made me almost want to run for the hills. I thought, well, how can I play in this field? This field is full of high vibe, very successful multimillionaire businesses. Who am I to step into that field? I'm not a multimillionaire yet. I am not playing on the same level as them. And I had to have a word with myself, because I realised that I was using comparisonitis to actually chop myself off at the knees. And that's no good either. We're all special, and none of us are special. We're all the same number of hours in the day. We breathe the same, we eat the same, we, use the loo in the same way. We're all the same. And as soon as we get that in our heads and feel that in our bodies and really grasp that concept, things will change. Things will be so much better for us, and things will be different. So those are my thoughts for Wisdom Wednesday. Let me know what you've been dealing with, and do bear in mind that I'm going to be kind of off and on. I've got I'm speaking on Saturday, so I'm getting some stuff ready for them. I'm trying to get a reel of some stuff over to them. I'm also preparing this season. You'll start seeing, if you haven't already, you'll start seeing posts from me on my social media page. And at the same time, I am also speaking to various people who have shown interest in the Bite Size programme, which expires at the end of this month, the end of June. So there's something else that I wanted to add, because a lot of people will send me private messages and say, Jenny, how do I do this, or how can I do that? And with love, I don't really respond to brain picking requests. I've got people that I know, people that I don't know. Just to give you an idea, some days, one particular day I had 4 requests in a day. Since the weekend and now, I've had 7 requests from people asking me stuff that, quite honestly, I share with my clients. I value my expertise, my opinions, and the questions that I'm often asked is usually what I give in consulting. So what I've also done is I've now opened up the opportunity that if somebody has one question or something that they want to ask me, you can do it. There's a link for you to click on the link, you make a payment for that link, and we get 45 minutes to talk about that one thing, because there's only so much we can do in 45 minutes. If you then decide that you want to go further with me and work in another way with me afterwards, I'll very generously take that amount off the work that we do together. So this way it gives you access to finding out, because quite often people will come to me and they'll say, Jenny, how do I do this thing? And the presumption is how do I, the most common question I get is, how do I get paid for speaking? Because that I have done, that I've spoken on at places like Google, that I've spoken for not-for-profit associations and still been paid. I've also spoken for free and been able to leverage that too. So people often ask me how do I get paid? How much should I charge for speaking? Well, it's not just a quick, there's a figure and that's it. There's a lot that goes behind it. I've been asked how somebody can position their services to a more corporate audience and more corporate clients. Yes, I can help with that. I can consult with you on that. Let's do it properly. I value what I do. I value my expertise, and I value what you do and your expertise too. Let's do it properly. So if if you're in that position and you want to do that, I will be putting a button up on my Queen of Being Seen page. But if you just want to ask that one question, it's £225 including VAT. So I think it works out like £187.50 plus VAT. And if you decide that you want to go on and do some further work with me, I will take that off the price. But the reason that I say that is because one of the things that you will get as you become more visible, as people begin to understand more of what you do, they think it's okay to pick your brains, and it never is. It never is. Your expertise, your craft, your value. You've either gone through very exceptional life circumstances to gain those insights, or you've paid somebody else a lot of money to learn your skill and hone your craft. So it's important to me. So just having a look at the comments there as well. Celeste says, people do the same with me related to brain picking. I'd really like to have people respect that I get paid for my legal advice, and yes, I desire being paid for my speaking. So there's two ways you can do it. You can go out and be a paid speaker, you could be a free speaker, or you could do both. And I started off doing free speaking, and I still do free speaking. I speak at people's masterminds, I speak at people's events, I speak at their conferences, I speak at my own stuff, I collaborate with people, and I do a majority of that for free. But last year, the year before, I started speaking at conferences and getting paid for it, and without overtly selling anything, I still had people come to me afterwards and say, like, how can I work with you, which is a really great place to be. But all of that will not be gained by me saying charge this amount or let me introduce you to this company or business. It doesn't work like that. So hope that helps. And the other thing that people often think, because they are doing comparisonitis, oh, well, if this person goes out and speaks and charges, so will I. What they don't see, it's a bit like that song, how much is that doggy in the window? When you press your face up to the glass to look into the pet shop at the cute puppies, you don't see what went on before that puppy got in front of that window. You didn't see whether it scratched or bit the owner. You didn't see whether it was shy and didn't want to go out there in the first place. You didn't see the construct or the framework. So when somebody brain picks and asks a question and they just want an answer, number one, it's a brain pick. They're less likely to actually go forward and do it anyway. And the second thing is there's often a framework or a structure underneath. There's a reason why I do everything. Everything I do is intentional. It's not manipulation, it's intentional. What I choose to share, what I choose not to share, how I choose to show up in the world, how I how I deliver my information, everything is intentional, and it's intentional so that the people that need it get the best from it. I hope you feel that. I hope you see, hear and feel my vibe. And thank you so much for this Wisdom Wednesday. Let me know, would you like more of these? If there's someone that you know in this group that perhaps should be watching this and maybe they're at work right now, do tag them in the box below. Let them know. So Celeste is saying thank you. No, you're welcome, and everything you do is intentional. I like that. It has to be, especially when you're running a business. It has to be intentional, and I would add to that with great intent as well. Okay, thank you so much for watching. Lots of love to you. Bye for now.